This video is sponsored by Dealers United, the premier digital marketing partner for car dealers looking to drive more sales with search engine marketing, search engine optimization, and social ads. To learn more, visit www.dealersunited.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Susan Givens, publisher of AutoSuccess, and I have Cameron Johnson joining us today from Magic City Automotive Group. He is the chairman and CEO. Welcome. So happy to have you, Cameron.
Thank you. So great to be with you.
So I'm really excited to kind of jump in on your story. I know that you've been doing some type of business since you were 9 years old. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you started these multiple businesses at that early age.
So yeah, you're right. It's been a while now. I started my first business when I was 9 years old. It was a small printing business, printing greeting cards, stationery, really anything I could print with my home computer. And my first customer was my parents. I showed them these imitations that I had just taught myself how to make. Of course, I was 9. And I said, they said, well, that's great. You can make the imitations for a party your dad and I are having. And I said to my mom, sure, if you pay me. And that's how I started my first business. And by the time I was 12, I was selling, at the time, this was a huge craze, Beanie Babies. And I was selling Beanie Babies over the internet. And I made $50,000 that year when I was 12 selling Beanie Babies. And I had 12 companies before I was 21. And I was doing $15,000 a day in sales when I was 15 years old.
That is incredible. I would really like for you to talk to my kids at home.
Well, I did write a book called You Call the Shots, and it talks about, my businesses as I was growing up and how I sort of started them.
Okay, where can we get that?
You can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anywhere else. Yeah, or, audiobook on iTunes. Yeah, thanks.
Nice. Okay, well, good. So what led you into the automotive industry? Tell me a little bit about that and about your dealership.
So parallel to my internet businesses as I was growing up, my great-grandfather started selling Model Ts in 1925 and started our single-point Ford store in 1938. He became the dealer principal. And so our Ford dealership had been in my family's business. I'm the 4th-generation owner. And after my internet business success, I came back and I bought out all of our shareholders. And my dad was the last shareholder that I acquired. And then I started acquiring other dealerships that are in our same market. So we have 4 rooftops, 2 Ford stores, as well as a Chevy GMC store and also a Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram store.
Wow, that's super impressive. Now, you do a lot of unique things throughout your dealership group. You've used a very creative SEM strategy by targeting consumers based on video walkarounds and comparison videos that they've watched. What inspired you with this approach, and how are you doing it and integrating it throughout your dealerships?
We do this, what I like to call sort of like a one-to-one marketing, because back in the day, we used to be able to run an ad in a Sunday paper or, buy the 6 p.m. newscast, and you could really reach most of your market by doing that. Now, you most certainly cannot necessarily reach all consumers in that way because people even consume, their television at their own leisure or their own time. And so I think what we've been able to do with some of these video walkarounds is target the customer based on, their likes and all the targeting that you can do. And so you might not be running, a very expensive campaign that sort of blasts the entire market. Instead, you might be running dozens and dozens of different campaigns, that's going after that, very unique target market and that unique audience. And so that's what I've, knock on wood, found to be successful at the current moment.
Perfect. So I want to dig into those type of ads a little bit more, because you're currently running some like dynamic inventory across Meta for all your stores. What are your current priorities that direct the inventory that you're advertising right now?
One of the best things about being able to, do VIN specific ads is we can choose what vehicles maybe need more attention. So if we've got something that's maybe fast selling, we might not need to spend as much marketing that as we might need to maybe target, let's say an aged, used car that's in our inventory. And so that's sort of how we try and figure out our marketing is sometimes, certain vehicles need a little more love, if you will, in the marketing side of things than others. And we've had some great success with that.
So right now with all the crazy tariffs going on, are you going to have to shift the way that you're doing things, or how do you see adjusting things in the near future?
Yeah, the tariff conversation is obviously a timely one, but it's also a fluid conversation since everything it seems to be changing not just by the day, but maybe by the hour. I think what we expect to see is maybe more of a focus on our service and parts business. If we see any kind of dip in the new car business or delay or price increases, which we haven't seen yet, but it's certainly possible. Then I think we would just double down our strategy and focus on used cars and also focus on service and parts, which has obviously already been booming. You've got so much pent up demand and service where customers have maybe delayed buying a new vehicle because of interest rates or whatever other issue. And people are keeping their vehicles longer. The average car on the road now is over 12 years old. So that also is a lot of pent up demand for service and parts.
Perfect. This next approach is very interesting. You have recently partnered with Dealers United, and you guys have been focused on local SEO with your backyard pages strategy. So can you explain what backyard pages is and why it's so crucial to your business?
Sure. When somebody's searching for a new or a used car, and it doesn't matter the brand, they might be searching, with their city name. And so what we like to target is people know that Magic City is in Roanoke, Virginia. But what we like to do is we like to target everywhere around us, perhaps using city names of our competitors' locations, and all of the different things to really focus on just being able to come up in somebody's search terms based on what they're searching for, along with a city name and of course in our backyard.
Perfect. Can you share with me any notable milestones that you've had lately or achievements that you've had in the past few months?
Oh, wow. Achievements in the last few months. We've been working with Dealers United on and off for many years, but we've been with them exclusively for the last 18 months. And they have really been a key to our success in, growing our Ford business and also our other dealerships. And we also like to celebrate that we've won the President's Award, which is Ford's prestigious award for sales and service, more than 15 times. And, we've been in business since 1930s. So we've got a unique story to tell, and we certainly like telling it to our customers and our employees.
Congratulations. That is an achievement. So since you've implemented Dealers United, have you noticed any specific improvements in sales, service, and just overall bottom line?
I think, you can do this with other providers, of course, as well. But what Dealers United really does for us is they give us so much insight into reporting. So it's almost, okay, we spent X amount on a campaign. We know what we spent, but how do we know what it actually generated? And so when we can see how these different targeted campaigns work, and, you can much easier sort of tell the ROI and, the return on your investment for the ad dollars that you're spending. Because of course, you can throw advertising money at the wall, and there's, 100 different ways to advertise in today's world. But being able to just target, not just the unique customer, but also seeing the results after that's a real benefit.
What challenges did you have prior to implementing Dealers United in the digital marketing space?
I think the biggest challenge in digital marketing is knowing where to start and knowing if you're really doing things right. I see dealers and, even in my 20 group, they might think they're doing really well with their digital ad spend because maybe they like the rep that they work with and they've been doing the same thing for however many years. But things are literally changing a lot faster than that. And I think our success with Dealers United is just literally being in touch with them, if not on a weekly basis, almost on a daily basis, and just tracking everything that we're doing so that we know, hey, let's spend more of our ad budget here and less here, or vice versa.
I think you brought up a really good point. It is so important to find that perfect partner, that partner that's going to kind of look out for your best interests and wants to be long-term with you.
And Dealers United is only focused on helping dealers, move metal, if you will. So many other digital marketing providers might have their hands or their toes in 10 different industries, but Dealers United is focused only on car dealers. And I think that is really a benefit to us because we're sort of speaking the same language and we have the same goal.
I agree. With your experience in tech investments in media. How do you see technology playing a role in the evolution of the automotive industry?
Oh, I think we've seen so much. Of course, we had our COVID years, which were both beneficial but also challenging when we had the chip shortage or supply chain issues, et cetera. But I think moving forward, it's just going to continue to be sort of a one-on-one communication with your customers, to know where they are in their ownership cycle, and sort of reaching out to them when it might be just before they're ready to buy their next vehicle, because you don't want to sell a customer one car and never see them again. You obviously want the repeat business, and not only the benefit of repeat business selling the customer again, but also the benefit is it costs less to advertise to somebody that's already done business with you. And so I think you're just going to continue to see more and more targeted advertising, and we're just going to hopefully continue to do that ourselves.
That's perfect. It kind of leads into this next question, as far as like any new strategies or trends that you see that will help in the growth of Magic City Automotive Group.
Oh, I think there's infinitely more strategies that are always coming to us, and so I think just being able to adapt is going to be our, as car dealers collectively, I think everybody's biggest challenge is how fast you can adapt. And sadly, if you don't adapt, then I have actually a chapter in my book, and it's titled "Adapt or Die," and it literally says if you don't continue to always adapt your business, then your business may die. And I think that the car business was maybe the same for 50 plus years, but it has certainly changed in the last 5 years. And I would, if I had to guess, I would think that it's going to change even more so in the next 5 years.
I agree. Well, Cameron, thank you so much for chatting with us today. I think that you gave our audience a lot to walk away with, and we just appreciate your time and what you're doing for this industry.
Well, thank you so much, and for what you're doing as well.
Thank you.